You're ready to go? Yeah. Okay, so let's begin. We'll begin with a bit of breathing, and then we take it into some other places. Be comfortable. We'll do some simple square breath that will lead into a Nadi Shodhana. As in Nadi Shodhana, we breathe from one nostril, then to the other, then from the other into the tail. I'm not going to talk you through it, but we start with simple breathing, we build it towards a square breath, and then we'll get into the Nadi Shodhana, which is just the screen. Okay. Okay, so sit comfortably, that's important. So you can really focus on breathing rather than focusing on how uncomfortable you feel. So before we begin anything, let's just take a moment to kind of align our intention. So your eyes, sit tall and straight. With the mouth closed, breathing smoothly through the nose. And start to slow the breath down. And while breathing slowly, bringing the hands to rest against the heart center. So the hands can literally press against each other lightly as they press lightly against the breastbone. Usually it's the left hand first because that kind of sits more comfortably against the physical heart itself. And the right hand sits above that. So you can change that if it feels better. And as soon as your hands touch the skin, breastbone, chest, your mind goes there, which is what we want. So keep in your mind when the hands are resting, start to visualize your heart doing the breathing. The heart is expanding through the hands as you breathe in. The heart is releasing as you breathe out. And connecting here with the heart, with the breath, and also with gratitude. There's always so much to be grateful for, but we kind of sometimes tend to forget. We only focus on what we don't have. What we want to be different, rather than appreciating what we do have and how good it is to have. As you shift to a state of gratitude, we're breathing from your heart very slowly and smoothly. Start to tune into your intention from this practice, the intention coming from your heart, not from your head. Your reasons to be here vary from person to person, from day to day, from practice to practice. You're tuning into the present moment, into your present intention. Intention in mind, bringing the palms to rest against each other. So there's Jali Mudra, Jali prayer gesture. The right and the left come together, become one. It's a very symbolic gesture. It's uniting the opposites, merging them together into one thing. And the sonic representation of this oneness is a sound Om, which is known as the substratum from all potential sounds. As you chant Om in your mouth, the mouth, the tongue, everything's kind of participating. The idea is you kind of move through all the vowel potentiality, which obviously the vowels kind of create all the words. So Om basically is all the words together merged into one, all the languages, one thing. In the beginning, there was the word. So let's jump on. Allow the sound to bring you into the present moment, into the understanding, deep knowing that all is one. All is one. It's just taking different shapes, different forms. But in its core, in its essence, it's the same thing. You are me and I am you. And the only reason we think we're different is because we don't understand it. In yoga, we say that vidya, not knowing, is the cause of all suffering. And by recognizing that and gradually changing our ability to see reality as it truly is, we remove suffering, remove this ignorance, not knowing what we do. And home is a good one. So as you relax your hands, maybe adjust your seat, connecting to the breath as it moves through the nostrils. And to begin with, we're just slowing the breath down. So breathing in and out through the nostrils, breathing in and out through the nose, just in a slower way. Just to make sure the lungs are kind of open and your posture is fairly open. We just do this simple thing is if you bring your right hand and place kind of the heel of the hand against the kind of eyebrows, and then where your fingertips will touch, the point there, the kind of the fontanelle, that's the point you want to lengthen up from. So just bring the hand there, touch with your fingertips on that point on the head, the fontanelle, and then kind of mark it. So kind of press slightly harder so you can really feel it, then you can relax your hand. And then think of that point and start to lengthen up from that point towards the ceiling. Find your whole posture change. Like sit really tall, really open. It's very comfortable. And you notice that when you sit this way, the lungs are very open and the belly is quite relaxed, which means the diaphragm can move up and down with ease. The lungs can expand out and in with ease. And ease is important. So the kind of the description of a yoga posture is one that you can hold firmly but with ease. So as you breathe slowly, let's start to pay attention to the gaps after the inhalation and after the exhalation, which return into a square. It doesn't matter through which nostril you breathe in or out. Let's together exhale. Then with the nose, breathing into the count of 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold the breath. 4, 3, 2, 1, and breathe out. 4, 3, 2, 1, and stay empty. 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe in. 4. Hold the breath. 4. Breathe out. 4. And stay empty. Inhale and hold. Exhale and keep going. So while breathing in this way, 4, 4, 4, 4, be aware that the breath wants to go into the belly. If it doesn't want to go into the belly, direct it into the belly. So it's not just your chest kind of puffing as you breathe, the belly expanding as you breathe. Paying special attention here to the lower abdomen, which is the hip center. So it's kind of behind the pubic plate, just behind it, where the root of the bladder is. So even though there are no lungs down, as your diaphragm ascends and descends, affects that area. So while there are no lungs, they aim to breathe from that area, from the place behind the pubic plate. But to this, we're going to add the control of the nostrils. So if you bring your right hand and either rest the first two fingers on the mid-brow center, or if comfortable, fold the first two fingers in, so you have your thumb and ring finger. Then you bring them to the nose and you slide them down the bridge of the nose until you meet that kind of soft part. Let's together breathe out. And close the right nostril. And for the left nostril, breathe into the count of 4, 3, 2, 1, and hold the breath. Close the left nostril. 2, 1. Open the right. Exhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Close the right again. We're holding here. 2, 1. For the right. In 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold the breath. 4, 3, 2, 1. For the left. Exhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Close and hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. Left. 4. Hold. 4. Right. 4. And hold. 4. Right. Breathe in. Hold the breath. Exhale left. Hold the breath. One round for the left. Breathe in. Hold the breath. Right. Exhale. Hold. Right in. Hold. Finish it to the left. When you're ready, exhale. And hold. Then release the hand and breathe in to both. So it's a calming breath. The in and the out breath are even in length. And there's a calm retention, which means the nervous system is made relaxed. Sympathetic, parasympathetic branches of the central nervous system are made to be operating equally, evenly. We come into shifting the gears, yoga. So we're using the arms here. We're prana mudra, or moving the arms in a way that we can get more prana, not just breath. So the hands can rest above each other in front of the navel. And we do square breath here. So as you inhale, moving your arms out and up, count 4, 3, 2, 1, and hold the arms there, hold the breath, 4, palms facing down, 3, 2, 1, press the breath out, 4, hands move down, 3, 2, 1, flip the palms to face up and hold empty, 4, 3, 2, 1, breathe in, 4, hold the breath, 4, breathe out, 4, and stay empty, 4, 1, 4, hold the breath, breathe out, 4, and stay. From here, as you inhale, lift your arms up as before. This time, interlock the fingers and press the palms up to the ceiling. And we're keeping the arms extended. Just reach the arms to kind of a bit for the right, a bit for the left. Like you're kind of climbing a bit from side to side, reaching higher up, trying to maybe pick a really high fruit. And feeling your side ribs opening, your side abdominal opening, feeling your sit bones grounding, and then press the right hand a bit higher up and press the right sit bone a bit further down. Get that length for the right side of your body. And while doing so, moving your ribs further right, moving your arms further left. And slowly bringing the left hand to the floor, having the right palm facing down and leaning further left. So find that expansion for the right side of your body. While the left hand is on the floor, don't collapse into it. Push the floor. And trying to stretch the floor away from your hips. And if comfortable, you can look up towards the ceiling. If that's not comfortable, just look down towards the floor. Just open into the right side of your body. Keeping the right arm extended and the right side very open, come back to sitting. And we're keeping the right arm up, the left hand can be behind you on the floor, behind the tailbone, or if comfortable, you can catch the inner right thigh. And then the right hand comes to the outer left thigh. You can use the back of the hand if that's comfortable. You can use your palm and bring the fingers to the floor, depends how long your arms are. Just twist towards the left. So here we want to breathe into the left side of the chest, into the left lung, top of the lung. And we're keeping the twist towards the left. You can counter twist. You can look towards your right shoulder, past the right shoulder, right knee. While we're keeping this twist, really be aware of that place behind the pubis bone. Hold it there, one breath. One more exhalation. And coming to the center. And again, we're going to reach both arms up slowly to the count. 4, 3, 2, 1. Interlock the fingers. Press the palms up towards the ceiling. Exhale. Reach a bit more for the left hand. We're keeping the left arm up. Move your ribs a bit to the left. The ribs are moving left. The arms are moving a bit towards the right. That's it. Okay, so if you look at me for a second, so it's like that. So the ribs are moving left, and the arms are moving right. It's almost like a pendulum. So you can hang in there, and as the pendulum is going that way, that action is happening, which means this side is really open all the way to here and here and here and here. We're pressing and extending, and then the right hand comes to the floor. The left palm comes down, and we're reaching towards the right. Commonly, most people typically, we're tipping towards the right. The way to correct that is to push the right hand to the floor. If you haven't felt something in your left side just yet, you will. You push the hand into the floor. If it's comfortable, you could look up towards the ceiling. If the arm is in the way, move it back. So just really breathe into that left lung. We already started to open it before. Continue that with intention. Hold there, another breath. Another exhalation. Come to sitting, reaching that left arm really high, adjust your right hand. Right hand can be on the floor behind the tailbone. You can reach towards the inner left thigh. Right hand, wherever it is, left hand can be on your right thigh. Palm with the back of the hand, come towards the floor. Wherever it is, twist yourself towards the right. Even though your right hand might not be on the hip, but think of the left hip pulling back a bit. And if you want, you can counter twist with your head. So rather than looking right or back, you can look left or left. And wherever your right hand is, just pull the shoulder away from the breastbone. So you don't want the shoulder coming in, you want the right shoulder pulling back. So we're opening here for the pec, which means we can breathe into the top of the right. Another breath there. Slowly coming out. And take forward here. So extend your legs forwards. And if you want to keep your knees bent, why not? If you want to hug your thighs, that's fine. Otherwise, you can have your legs straight as you fold over the legs. And the idea here is to really feel into that area which is just behind the pubis plate. There's a feeling of kind of pulling in. And in yoga, there's a kind of a terminology connected to that, which is known as Uddiyana Mula Bandha. Uddiyana means the flying up or the lifting up. And Mula means root, and Bandha means lock. So it's the lifting of the root lock. The root lock is basically the pelvic floor. And the easiest way to think about that is, let's say you need to go to the loo, but you're stopping yourself from going to the loo, so you're contracting the muscles. But rather than just contracting the muscles at the pelvic floor, you're aiming now to lift those muscles up to the place behind the pubis. So that's the lifting of the mula, the root. And this shouldn't be too aggressive. It's not like really contracting, you're just lifting. So it's about 70% kind of intention, energetic, and about 30% muscular contraction. Another breath there. With the exhalation, you slowly bring yourself up to sitting. You can place the hands on the floor behind so you can sit tall and start moving the feet. We do one leg at a time. So right, moving down, up. Pressing on the pedal there, and then change just the left, down, up. And then both together, down, up. Then circling both feet together. Okay, and then change direction, so just aiming to get some of that tension out of your ankles. Okay, I'm going to hold it here, and we're going to keep the right leg straight. Just draw that left foot in a bit and bring the foot close to the inner right thigh, and just gently bounce through that left hip, left knee. It doesn't matter if the knee doesn't reach the floor or the thigh doesn't reach the floor, just bounce a bit to try to release a bit here at the top of the thigh. And we're going to help that by pressing the left hand down into the left knee. If the knee is really sore, if the floor is really far, just put something underneath it, like a rolled up jumper or something like that. Right hand can be on the floor behind. We're going to press kind of down and along towards the right knee as we twist towards the left. Sorry, so pressing to the left knee as we twist towards the right side. While maintaining the pressure with the left hand and the left knee, we're going to start to create a resistance here. So it's a push and pull, or press resist rather in this case. So take a breath in. As you hold the breath in, push the knee into the hand, push the hand into the knee. Hold the breath. As you exhale, relax and see if your knee can move a bit more. Okay. Hold it there, turn forwards, and now with both hands, find your left ankle, lift the foot off the floor, and as you support the ankle, give it a little shake. Relax your foot a bit. Shake it. Shake it. And then, using your right hand on the foot, left hand on the ankle, start to rotate your foot. If you can, if it's comfortable, you can use both hands on the foot, and you're trying to rotate the foot until you can see the sole of your foot to some extent. And what we're trying to do here is to understand the connection between the ankle, the knee, and the hip. So the movement of the foot is not isolated to the foot. when I move my foot, I'm actually moving my hip. As my hip moves, I can see my foot. I just try to move it from my foot, my ankle. So be aware that you need to go further down. You try to rotate externally, and then you foot. It's a lovely foot. Nice. Okay, so you can use your hands here. If you know anything about pressure points, you can get in there. All I know is that if I press in some areas, like, so press into that. Just press into where it's a bit sore, and maybe kind of move a bit there. It feels less sore. Also, if you know more than I do, please do press into what's important. Generally speaking, the most important point in the foot is kind of there, just kind of underneath the big toe mound, where it's a bit softer. So in Chinese tradition, it's known as the bubbling spring, which is kind of where the energy comes into the body from the earth. In the yoga tradition, Zamama, it's called Palaharidyam, which means the heart of the foot. Just press into that. Open your heart. It's sort of lovely, if you like. At some point, release the foot. If possible, rest it on the thigh, so the knee drops a bit lower. If the knee is up here and you're sitting like that, that's not going to be very comfortable. So bring the foot towards the floor. That's fine too. It's like a half lotus thing here, really. Just hold for a moment. Like foot kind of rest and face towards you as much as possible. And assuming your leg is kind of open, you can use the first two fingers and thumbs to hold the big toe so you can extend your leg straight. Failing that, you can hold the back of your thigh or use a belt, or just grab whatever you can. So extending the left leg as straight as you can. Naturally, you start to round in here. So plate of the pubis comes forward and sit tall. Think of that point there on the fontanelle, and you lift up from there to sit tall. Naturally, your shoulder starts to lift towards your ear. Relax the shoulder, it's not coming from there. Okay, leg gets heavy after a while. If your leg is extending, you will follow it. So with your hand, pull the leg into you, sucking the thigh bone into the hip socket. It makes it so much easier to hold. Right hand comes towards the floor by your side for balance. It can be quite close. How much further? It can be on the floor or hovering. Depends on your leg. Gradually move your left leg to the left. So I kind of like to take my arm out right to the floor because I find it's easier for me to sit more straight, but very much dependent. It might be more comfortable for you with the hand on the floor. Again, if the leg is moving to the left, you will find yourself doing that. So pull it in towards you. It's so much easier to sit. Okay. Coming to the center and switching hands. Right hand on the outside of the left foot, left leg. Left hand can be on the floor behind you, or you can reach back. It's a twist. Okay, so just kind of pulling that left leg right. Turning your belly, your chest towards the left. Lovely twist there. The foot might be very high as your kind of eyes. A little bit lower. One more breath. Come into the center and bend the left knee deeply. Bring the left knee to rest above the right knee with the left heel roughly by your right hip. And hands come to rest on the top. Okay. Sitting there for a moment. Yeah. Twist here, so slowly the left hand goes to the floor behind you. The right hand can be on the thigh, or the outer arm can be on the thigh and hand on the floor. The twisting as far left as possible, using your arms as levers. And breathing into the lower abdomen. As you exhale, turn forwards and either sit up, fold it there, or moving from the hips and folding over your legs. And directing the breath to the intensity in the back of the right leg. For most people, this feels quite intense as the hamstrings feel like they're kind of pulling apart. Use that feeling to maintain your awareness at the present moment. And yoga practice is really multi-layered. In a sense here, we can use every moment, every position for so many purposes. One thing to use, the postures for, is to keep bringing our awareness back to the present. If you have a tendency to be kind of a bit more scattered mind, your head goes into all directions at the same time, 110 miles an hour, use the intensity of the stretch to keep it present. That's a form of concentration. One more breath there. You slowly bring yourself up to sitting. Gonna take the hands to the floor behind and lean back and send the right leg up. You can have the left foot stick on the floor or float it off the floor, so it's like a boat, kind of a weird boat. Of course, you don't have to keep the hands behind. If you're more comfortable, you can take them forwards. But if you want, you can reach them forwards. So the right leg has to really work hard here to support the weight of the left leg. The left leg is not doing it. Hold there for another breath. And we're going to switch legs. Left comes forwards, right comes in. Let's sit down. Okay, so right hand slides on the thigh towards the knee, left hand is on the floor behind. Sit up, twist towards the left. The right hand on the right leg, the right knee. Okay, hold it there, take a breath in. Maintain the breath as you press the right hand down into your right knee. There, hold there. Press the knee up into the hand, press the hand to the knee. Okay, and then as you exhale, forwards and give your knee a little bounce. Right, okay, now we're coming to the ankle, so both hands supporting the ankle. And shake, shake, shake. Quite good to compare right and left. Sometimes one ankle is really stiff. Okay, so assuming that you prefer, you can keep your right hand on the ankle, use the left hand to start to turn the foot towards you. You can check it's not coming from your foot, it comes from the hip. As the hip rotates kind of externally, the knee drops down, the foot goes up. Finding that kind of connection there. Keeping one hand there, using both hands to start to turn the foot a bit closer, so eventually to face you. Okay, they can use your thumbs here, fingers to find some juicy spots. Or if there are no juicy spots, again, just pressing into that point, kind of between the big toe mound and the other part of the ball of the foot, just there, right in there. If comfortable, foot can rest on the thigh, knee drops down, so half lotus. If your knee is quite high and you push it down, it hurts the knee there. Look, when doing that, keep the foot up. So hold what feels better. Okay, but here we're going to extend that leg. So again, choose maybe to use a belt to hold the back of the leg, or first two fingers, thumbs over the big toe. And without folding, sit up. You can use the hand on the floor if you want to extend the leg as straight as you can, as high as possible, without collapsing your spine. So think of the pubis plate coming forwards into your thigh. Think of the thigh bone pulling in, so your leg becomes slightly shorter, therefore lighter. Good. Shoulder drops down a bit. Good. So just kind of on a simple strength level, if your shoulder comes up, then there's a disengagement of these muscles, which are really important. So your lats, your serratus muscles, if you drop the shoulder down, these muscles engage and they're very strong. So much easier to hold it this way than that way. Okay, from here, we're taking the left hand to the left for support. Keep it on the floor close or far or off the floor, slowly moving that leg out without turning the chest towards the right if possible. So still facing forwards. Pull the leg in towards you. With your hand, pull it in, shorten the leg, make it lighter. That's great. Smile. Lengthen from here. Yeah. And then switch hands. So right hand, sorry, to the floor if you want to, left hand to the outside of the leg, or right hand to the back of the mat. And the idea here is to pull the navel past the right thigh. And check how high you want that right foot to be. So if you look at your toes, can they be more in line with your eyes? Maybe even higher up. Twist, 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 twist. Come back the center. You're going to bend the knee, take the foot to the outer left thigh, bring the edge of the foot towards the floor so your knees are stacked. Have your hands on top knee and that's already really good for your right outer hip, and it will start to work into your left thigh. Okay. Here, when you fold, if you come to fold, don't fold that way. When you're pulling back for your back, think of folding from here. So you're basically trying to bring your belly into the thigh. That happens first, then that happens next. And there might be an idea, doesn't work just currently. At least you're working in the right direction. So use your hands, you can kind of pull on the knee as you bring your belly forwards into the thigh. Then you release down as you bring the throat towards the knee. It's not particularly comfortable. It keeps you here. Stay there. Breathe into your leg. Let it open. Breath there. We're coming to a funny boat. So choosing to use your hands on the floor behind or in front as you lean back. Or maybe taking the hands forwards. And the further back you lean, the harder it will be on your core muscles. So sitting upright might be a bit harder for your quads, but much easier for your core muscles if you decide. One more breath. Slowly extend the right leg forwards as well, as best as you can. Use the hands on the floor. Start to move your legs wider. You can bring the hands forwards as best as you can. Lift your toes up. One more breath. Stop. Sit down. Then move forwards and back. A lot on the quads, I know, but when the quads work, the hamstrings open up. So there's no better way around opening your hamstrings besides strengthening the quads. So if you do get lots of cramps, that's not a bad thing. It means at least you're working the right muscles. So as we stay low, we're taking both hands towards right leg, foot. It doesn't really matter if you're facing the leg or you're facing off to the front. Just breathe into the left side of your body. And relax the right ear down towards the right shoulder. So at least your neck is relaxing, even though nothing else is. Keeping your legs as wide as comfortable, taking both hands towards the leg. In the same way, it doesn't matter where you're holding, what you're holding, doesn't matter if you're facing the front or facing down. Relax the left knee down. And the neck is very much connected to the lower back. So if you can relax your neck, you can start to release the lower back. And bringing the hands center, take them as far forward as comfortable. And once they're there, use your hands or your fingers to grip the mat, the floor, and pull it towards you. At the same time, look forwards and press your heels into the floor. So now we want the hamstrings to work. So just imagine your legs, don't sit up, just imagine, don't do it. Just imagine your legs are trying to do that, pressing down and dragging back, but the legs are straight because there's floor there. So you press down and drag towards you. Successfully forwards, and relax and soften down. And for some people, getting the head to the floor is the goal. Ultimately, it's to get the pubis plate. So if your head is already down, that's great. From forehead, move to chin. The chin is already down, that's great. From chin, move to chest. That's already done, that's great. From chest, move to pubis plate. Until you're completely flat against the floor. That becomes the pancake. Flat. Squash down. It's quite encouraging because it means that there's always something to do. It'd be a bit disappointing if you think, oh my gosh, I'll never get to do that. But at least you have something to strive towards. will never be boring. Okay, slowly come up. If you want to make your legs strong, come up without using your hands. That's a good way to make those legs strong. Bring the feet together, giving your knees a little bounce. And we're making the kind of diamond shape of the legs, or the yoni, the womb pose here, holding onto your feet. Take your tailbone slightly under, and then dive into that space that your legs are creating. So going back into the womb. So in theory, past life regression here. So going right under your legs. This leads to eventually legs behind the head, if you don't want to do it. However, it's the intention. Obviously, there's a floor in the way. That doesn't really work with the floor. So in theory, your feet will rest on something a bit higher when you're going under. It doesn't really matter if you can do that physically. Mentally, just think, I'm going down and back into where I came from. Which is why it's known as the yoni, the womb. Right in there. It doesn't matter if you're male or female. So while you hold the pose, it doesn't matter how low you are, connected to that pubis plate and the space behind it, the root of the bladder. Which is also known as the Swadhisthana chakra. Swa is the self, and sthana is the place, the bow. And slowly coming up to sitting, using hands to move the feet a bit closer, taking the knees a bit lower, feet facing each other or facing the ceiling. Hold it there, and just feel how your thigh is kind of rotating backwards. And as a result, the knees are moving downwards. You can hold onto the ankles of the feet. You can sit tall, close your eyes. Or you can choose to fold forwards to rest the head kind of on the feet, beyond the feet. Don't worry about it, just drop it down. So you want to feel the kind of the groin opening. So the thigh bones are moving kind of out, but they also rotate back in the same time. There's a feeling of connection. There's lots of activity in this kind of lower region here. We're getting lots of blood pumping into that area. Using our mind, our attention to direct our prana, energy. As the saying goes, when the mind goes, the prana follows. So all you need to do is just think of that area. But if your mind gets quite distracted, well, if you do these things, you will definitely think of that area, because all you can feel is the intensity there. And slowly, this using your hands, bring the feet, okay, bring the feet to the floor, bring the knees together. And with the hands on the floor behind you, with the knees together, just gently move your knees a bit right left. Okay, so the outer hips. Also, at the same time, preparing your wrists here. So you're going to check in how your wrists are feeling, if they're okay on the floor or not. If you need to modify things, of course you can. Once you're ready, come to the center, bring the feet hip width apart, keeping the hands on the floor behind, fingers pointing back, press into the hands, and lift the chest up. If that's enough, stay there. Otherwise, lift your hips as high as your knees, but keep the chin on the chest. So you're looking down towards the pubis plate area. Lift the belly up, lift the belly up, the hips up. Keep the chin in, or if that's comfortable, throw the head back. You can shift more weight into your hands, your fingertips. You can shift more weight into your feet. Depends on your wrists, depends on your arms and shoulders. Just wherever you are, just take one more breath in. Ease yourself down. Exhale. And we're switching to tabletop. So hands on the floor, knees on the floor. And the circle here is from the hips. So move your hips and circle over your knees. Just moving with ease, kind of lubricating the head of the femurs, the thighs, the hip sockets, change direction. Okay, come back to the center. Assuming everybody has a spare layer they can use, or atomic knees, keeping your left knee on the floor, bring the right knee on your support beyond the mat, and point your toes towards the right. So if I do it this way, my foot is going to turn into the right, my knee's on the floor. I'm going to keep my left knee as it is. I'm going to drag that right knee out. Okay, so left toes pointing back, right toes pointing right, right toes pointing right. And I'm kind of aiming towards getting my inner right thigh to the floor. Not comfortable. Really not. For most people. You want to feel something in the inner thigh, mainly right thigh. Then bring it back in. And you can do the same thing again, or you can place your foot on my poor jumper and then slide the foot further out. Now the leg is straight. It's a bit harder. So here there's also hip position. You can have your hips further forwards, that feels different. You can have your hips in line with your knees. You can have your hips further back, and that feels a bit harder. So you're enjoying yourself. And come back to the center, and we're switching legs. So keep the right leg as it is. Of course, it will open as well. The focus here is the left leg. So the left foot turns out towards the left foot, left toes. Then keeping the right knee roughly where it is, slide your left knee away. So the effort is for the left. Don't worry if your right toes moved and don't point back. Right, left knee, not foot. Lift. That's it. Knee on the floor, on the, yeah, slide it out, slide it out, slide it out. Lovely. Draw it back in. Do it again. Or if you want to switch from knee to foot, then slide it further out. Right, very juicy. Again, you can move here a bit backwards or forwards. Just going to look for that place where your inner thigh, left thigh is saying, whoa. Get back in. Goodness, it's so good. So again, back to circling. Obviously quite intense. Change direction. So if you have two jumpers, or if you don't need jumpers, just use your knees. If you feel that the floor is not right for you, obviously you can change it. You can do it this way on the mat, but you can't slide very well on the mat. So if you're happy on the floor, just turn both feet out and just slide further out for the frog pose. And if I do it from the side, hip position number 1, 2, or 3, they're very different. So you can just go into as far as you can go and then just move a bit forwards, backwards. That's a lot for the inner thighs. Sorry? You can be on your forearms there, quite if you're already down on the forearms, because that's a bit more comfortable. For this. It's basically doing the splits, but just if your knees bend. Did I say the splits? Because you could continue with that, just have a little bit of a break, come to the center, bring the knees together. Just move your knees a bit kind of right and left, so knees on the floor, a bit right and left. And you can repeat it one more time, or if you want to venture out, you can take your feet out and then just slide a bit further down and move a bit forwards, backwards, which is obviously a bit more interesting. All right, let's come out of that. What are we doing? Slowly bring yourself out, taking the knees back on the floor, and again, just moving the hips a bit right and left. So even after, many years of doing that, it will always feel intense. Even those people who can go into the splits with quite a lot of ease, that will still be quite intense for them to hold it. So again, we're using these postures to maintain awareness, go into circles, awareness of the present moment, but also to gradually kind of find more opening, get more blood flowing into that area, change direction. The middle split is obviously something that most people will never think themselves able to do. And it's fine. It's fine to have a goal which is almost kind of a bit unattainable, cat and cow. Trying to cat and cow. It's good to have these things kind of happening, challenges which are beyond kind of normal rational understanding or even desire. Look forward to going to cow downward dog. Just get some movement there. The way I said it doesn't really matter if you'll never be able to do. So cow to downward dog. So keep dropping knees to the floor, look forward. So you go into the cow, then shift into downward facing dog. Just keep moving dynamically with that. So it's about opening your legs, opening front thighs, bringing more awareness to that center of the body, from pelvic floor to pubis plate, so first, second chakra. Then come into hold cow, look forwards or maybe up as you breathe in. When we're going towards puppy, also known as heart pose, so reach your arms forwards and drop low. Okay, so while you find yourself in a fairly more kind of sensible position, arms are aiming to be straight if possible. And armpits are getting closer to the floor if that's possible. And you can do child's pose instead. So you're aiming to have your hips above your knees here, just so remind us, so hips don't move forwards, just stay above the knees. As the arms move forwards and the head drops down. You're gonna bum in the air, so it's like half downward facing dog, which is why it's known as the puppy, because you're just on your knees rather than feet. And getting more awareness into the groin area. Take another breath there. And sliding onto your belly. And we want to really feel the pubis plate touching the floor as we come towards locust here, Shalabhasana, so hands go back. You can have your palms on the floor, fingers pointing back, lifting the chest, the head off the floor. And as you lift your legs off the floor, you really feel the center of the body pressing down. You kind of swim a bit with the legs here. Kind of flutter kicks. Lifting the legs as high as you can, gripping the fingers a bit further back towards the knee line. Hold it there, breathe into the center of your body. And ease it back down. Okay, so we are doing locust again. We're going to change the distance between the feet. So move your feet further apart. So the toes are maybe as wide as your mat. When you're ready, come up again. So chest, head coming off the floor. Fingers start to creep back, and then lifting your feet off the floor. If the legs wider, different muscles on your back and different muscles in your glutes. So lift. Again, you can do a few flutter kicks here. Lift up, lift up, lift up. Feet still quite wide. Ease yourself back down. Next one, the feet go even wider than your mat. And one more time in the same way, palms facing down, head, chest coming off the floor. Hands coming off the floor, keeping your legs wide. If your legs off the floor, it's a bit more difficult, so it's a lot higher up here. Hold. Now we're going to move in and out. So feet coming together, moving wide apart. They're coming together, so inner thighs. They move wide apart outer hips. One more time, they come together. That feels so much easier now, doesn't it? And they move wide apart, and you hold, and you hold, and you bring the feet together, hands on the floor, cobra. It just feels so amazing after what you just did. It shows that everything is just so dependent on other things. Just press the hands to the floor and lift your ribs up and forwards to feel your belly expanding. Keep the pubis plate on the floor. That's your grounding. Close your eyes. Just the pose so you can actually hold it without harming yourself. Now focus on the lifting of the pelvic floor into the back of the pubis. Not with kind of aggression. It's almost like you are luring it up, like you're kind of fishing. And as you hook the pelvic floor, you encourage it to lift. Almost entice you to it. And check how that's affecting your posture. Now think of that top of the head point and aim to point that towards the ceiling, which means that you're fairly facing forward. Good. One more breath there. And ease yourself down towards the floor. Just for a moment, lift your legs, lift your hands off the floor. Forwards. Deep breath in. And come back to downward facing dog. Yeah, let your body settle into that. Feels so nice to hold a downward dog. Going to a lunge here. So when you're ready in any way it works for you, bring the right foot to your hands. Settle it on the floor and move your hips forwards, backwards. Left knee still off the floor. Sit left foot is quite far back. Use your hands on the floor and just move your hips forwards, backwards. You want your right heel to stay on the floor. And you want to feel it for the left thigh. And come forwards and just drop, bounce up and down a few times. Just feel how your hips are getting lower and lower and lower, closer to the floor. Left thigh getting closer and closer to the floor. Then release it to the floor. Relax your left foot. Both hands on the right knee. Lift yourself up. Move in here. So make sure your right knee, so your left knee is happy. If you want to double the mat, keep the hands on the knee. Move yourself back as you inhale. And sink forwards, but take the shoulders back as you exhale. Again, move back as you breathe in. And sink forwards from the hips, the shoulders stay. One more time, shift it back in. And sink forwards as you breathe out and holding it here. Now, if you can keep your knee roughly above the ankle, that's great. If you are able to, take your knee even further forwards, but keep your heel on the floor. There will come a point where your heel will feel like I can't stay on the floor any longer. Get to that point. Okay, once you feel that your heel wants to leave the floor, that's a good place. Stay there. Then use your toes here. So think of your toes gripping the mat. Okay, claw the mat with your toes. A bit more. Then lift your toes, or aim to lift your toes off the mat, not the foot, just the toes. Then relax down and sit in stink. You can try to lean too much into the leg. Do it one more time. Grip with your toes. Grip, 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 grip. Think of your calf contracting. Then aim to lift the toes off the floor. Think of the front of the shin contracting. Then sink again. See if you can move even further forward. So that's great for ankle flexibility. One more breath there. Hands to the floor. Tuck the left toes, lift the knee, and pull back towards a front leg straight position. Yeah, so right leg stayed forwards, right leg, yeah, and the hands are kind of framing the right foot. It doesn't matter if you can't have the right leg straight for now, just do the best you can. But aim to keep the right big toe to the floor. There's a tendency to roll towards the outer edge of the foot. In stage one, we're going to bend the right knee, keep the left hand on the floor, and then twist towards the right and lift our right arm up. So the front knee is bent. That's it. Back heel is off the floor. So it's a twist here in a high lunge. And you feel a bit into the outer right hip. So to your best ability, either stay there or reach your right arm over your ear, as in forwards. And you can stay there, or you can start to kick your right butt cheek towards the right and reach your right arm towards the left. If I do it facing this direction, it might make a bit more sense. That way. So it's a lot on the outer hip. More breath. Both hands to the floor, frame the front foot as before, look forwards and smile. Again, pull back and straighten the front leg. If the previous one, what we just did, felt good to keep the knee bent for that twist, do that. Otherwise, you could bring the left foot a little bit closer and bring the heel to the floor on the right side and keep the left hand down, maybe on the palm or the fingertips, and reach the right arm up. So it's a twisting triangle. If that doesn't work, the arm is not long enough, the leg is not open enough, just bend the front knee. Okay, so options here for your left hand, it can be on the kind of left side, you can take it further left, you can bring it closer to the inner foot, you can take it on the foot, beyond the foot, or like we did before, you can reach the right arm over your ear as it forwards, and then move your hips further right and sweep the right arm further left. One more breath there. Both hands come to the floor and we're turning towards the left for the straddle push. So toes and fingers pointing left, legs are straight, fingertips or palms underneath your shoulders look forwards. And that's the important part here. Try to think of the posture coming from your legs. So as your sit bones go up, your hips come down, and it feels like you're pinching the top of the hips into your thighs. So it's the pubis plate that's moving backwards. It's not about tipping your spine down. It's about moving your pubis plate back through the legs and up towards the ceiling. As you carry on doing that, you find yourself closer to the floor. So allow yourself to fold and moving the pubis plate back and up, back and up, back and up. And it doesn't matter if it doesn't physically happen just yet. Use that as an intention. Okay, let's come to the hands. Look forwards as you inhale. Turn towards the front of the mat and step into downward facing dog as you exhale, and use the downward dog just to make sure everything is working well. You can walk it, you can hold it, you can wriggle, do whatever you need to do to make sure everything is working well. I'm going to take another moment here to drop, so drop the knees to the floor. Do another frog here, so big toes touching, and taking the knees as wide apart as you can while sitting on your heels. Again, if I do it from the side, the idea here is not to bring the head to the floor. The idea is to bring the pubis plate to the floor. So rather than kind of coming down like this, you want to lengthen out, bring your pubis plate to the floor. So you're completely squished. It doesn't matter if it doesn't touch the floor. You have the intention. Okay, so bum resting on the heels. You're sitting on your heels. It's all the way down the heels, but you're folding forward. So you can stay forwards, but keep your butt on your heels. So just like the puppy pose, the heart pose, just like the pancake, Vishta Konasana, it's about flattening your entire torso against the floor. Slowly walking the hands back. Bring yourself up to sitting. You can sit on your heels or between them. Rest your hands on your knees, close your eyes, and breathe into the lower abdomen. And just visualize the whole front of your body really open. And visualize the breath like a pulsation rising from the pubis plate. Create an expansion to the inner thighs towards your knees, to the belly, the shoulders, to the crown of the head. Again, second chakra area, bladder, genitals. So again, we'll go to downward dog. Just before you go there, as you're sitting, just a quick kind of thing to show. When we do the prasharita, it's very common to kind of fold this way. You try to get your head low, but here the pelvis hasn't moved. The idea is that your pubis plate, which is here, needs to go that way. So if I don't move that and I try to fold, this is what happens. But if I move from a pubis plate, just taking it backwards and upwards, then I can fold and I'm not even trying to get my head to the floor. I'm just moving my hips that way. Okay, so it makes it, I know it's hard on the legs, but if you don't move from here, the posture will always be like that. Even if you try to get to the floor, as soon as you change your pelvis, the floor is there. That's what we're aiming to do, to move that way, and it comes from here. So the pubis plate moves that way. It's the same thing here we were just doing. If you only move from your head, it looks like that. And as soon as you start to move from the pubis plate, it looks like that. Yeah, so it's the same thing. The same thing, why is it there? The same thing here. So if you just move from here, it's that. If you move from here, it's that. It's less effort because you move it from the right place. It's that. So that ability to move your hips in this way is to move from here, which is why it's called the Swadhisthana. It's the cell. It's kind of not here. You are here. So if you move from there, all these postures become a lot more accessible and I can carry on because it's all the same. It's not there. It's there, and so on and so on. So we're really trying to get into understanding this area. And the easiest way to place that awareness is here. Yeah, because you move it from there. That makes sense? It's all here. That's what we're trying to do. So sorry that it feels like a bit like torture, but that's the idea. You want to move that. So when that area really moves, your back starts to become a lot more limber. Your legs start to become a bit more limber. And all these things you kind of really, for years, kind of go, just, oh yeah, just if I just do that. It's not about flexibility. It's just about understanding how to move your body. It does require, opening some muscles and making some muscles stronger, but the right muscles. That said, let's go to downward dog. Which should I say, it's the same thing here in downward dog. You're sending your pubis plate up and back, and therefore your head can touch the floor. Not because your shoulders are more open, because you open from the center of the body. And we're not really trying to touch the head to the floor. We're just trying to move from the hips. Okay, let's take the left leg forwards. With the left leg fairly forwards, keep the right knee off the floor, then moving backwards and forwards. Because to be able to move from that place, you do need your legs to be fairly open. You can be forwards and bouncing up and down. Then letting your right knee come to the floor, relax your right foot, bring your hands onto the left knee, but lean back, keep the foot flat on the floor. You don't want to lift the heel because all the muscles around your knees are going to go into like, whoa! It's not good for your knee. So keep the heel down. That's stability. Moving backwards and forwards a few times. Pay attention to where you're moving from. It's not on your head and shoulders. It's right from there. Okay, so I'm touching this area. So sacrum, pubis plate, second chakra. This is how we move. You come in as low as you can, keep the heel flat, move as far forward as you can with your knee, so the back knee drags in a bit. Again, try not to lean forwards, lean back, if anything, and now find ankle flexibility. When you reach kind of your end range, that's the good point. Keep the heel on the floor, squeeze your toes. Really squeeze the toes. Okay, squeeze, 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 toes, 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 grip. And aim to lift the toes. They might not lift, but aim to lift the toes. As you relax the toes, you might find yourself sinking maybe lower or just be more comfortable. You do it again, so squeeze your toes, squeeze, 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 squeeze. And aim to lift the toes off the floor, even if it's just in your head. Then relax and sink so much lower. It's which means your right thigh is really open. Because as long as you're here, it's not much happening there. When you move forwards, now this opens, but that requires your ankle to be flexible. So framing the front foot, tuck the right toes, lift the right knee, and pull back until your left leg is as straight as possible. It doesn't matter if not completely straight, but the hands can't reach so far forwards. The hands can't reach the floor. So obviously blocks can be useful here. You have kind of shortish arms or slightly tight legs, you take blocks. Blocks are really a good thing to invest in because it's so useful. We're coming to a twist here, so allowing your right knee to drop to the floor or just stay off the floor, just bend the left knee. That's the main thing. The right hand can stay. If the wrist is sore, bring the knee down. If it's not so, keep the knee off the floor. As you twist towards the left, you can reach up. Yes, again, there's ways to move here. You can stay as you are, or you can reach your left arm over your ear as forwards. Now, the important thing is to connect to the line, making a kind of line in your mind between your left fingertips and your left hip bone. Then you can start moving your left arm to the right as you stick your left hip to the left. Extend, extend, extend from fingertips to hips. Hold it there. Turn the left hand to the floor again, frame the left foot, look forwards for a moment. You can drop the knee to the floor because it's a bit hard to see sometimes where your head is down. Just have a quick look. So this was 1, this was 2, 3 was like that. So I'm really opening here and moving my fingers that way and my hip on that way, which could be in this way, or the next pose is going to be in twisting triangle pose, which again can be like that. So I'm really getting to that point by opening all the way to my fingertips. If you don't want to do that, keep the front knee bent. Otherwise, pull back straight in the front leg. Bring the back heel to the floor for stability and start to twist towards the left. So left arm goes up first. That's enough, stay there. Or reach the left arm forward. That's enough, stay there. Or move the left arm a little right and move your hip towards the left. You start to roll to the outer edge of your left foot, and you will feel it. You will know that it's happening. Good, breathe. Whatever way that works for you. Just now it's there. Okay? You figure that. Okay. All right, both hands come down. We turn towards the right for a straddle. Before you go to the straddle, we kind of talked about it. Now close your eyes and picture yourself doing that. So connecting to your pelvis and think of the kind of the pubis plate and your tailbone, your sacrum, and move that area first. The pubis bone goes back, sacrum comes forwards, and see how that's tipping you forwards like a ball. The pelvis tips forwards, and all of a sudden you find that the floor is in the way of your head. And you stay down. Good, stay there. Releasing down from the sacrum and lifting up the pubis. Nice. The hands can go a bit further back. And keep that action of tipping, 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 tipping. Just does require your hamstrings to be fairly open. That's great, everyone. So it's not the effort from your legs, even though the legs feel it. It's not from the chest and the arms, even though they do feel it. It's all about moving your pubis plate backwards and upwards. Slowly coming up into fingertips. Turn towards the front of the mat. Just for a moment, a quick downward dog. So again, in the downward dog, maintain that awareness, pubis plate up and back, up and back, up and back. Turn it into Mandukasana, so knees on the floor. Big toes touching, sit on your heels, knees wide apart. And you could just for a moment kind of place one hand again against the pubis, the other hand on the sacrum, and just tip it forwards. I know it looks a bit stupid, but do that. Just stick in your butt backwards and bring the pubis to the floor and maintain that as you bring your hands forwards and down, and like a squashed frog, get your torso flat against the floor. The last thing we're doing here before we go on to the back is to look forwards and move your hips forward. So from your sit bones on your heels, start to move them forwards, keeping your knees on the floor and wide until you can get your pubis plate on the floor as much as you can. The knees might not stay on the floor, the feet might not stay on the floor. You can come here to like a sphinx position on forearms. If you're not comfortable, I know. But just think contact with the pubis plate will allow your hips to be open. And one day it might be comfortable. Until that day, let's get out, bring the knees together, take yourself into child's pose, and relax down. Remember that at some point in the far past, even child's pose wasn't comfortable. Downward dog wasn't. It's just a matter of getting yourself to these places on a regular basis until they become a lot more familiar. And as they become familiar, they also become comfortable. Things that used to be impossible are now your best friends. And the only way to get there is by regular practice. So the recommendation from the Yoga Sutra practice becomes grounded and well attended to for a long period of time without break, with all earnestness. We finish with Supta Baddha Konasana, so lying on your back, the soles of the feet together, the knees dropping down away from each other. Hands can rest on the lower abdomen, so kind of taking your thumbs to touch just below the navel, bringing the fingertips to touch, so making like a downward facing triangle kind of on the pubis plate. Hold it there. Symbol, second chakra. For the womb state. Just for a few moments, you can stay like that. If it feels enough at some point, you can just straighten the legs. Feel super comfortable as you are. Keep yourself as you are. But find that connection between that area, just behind the pubis plate, sacrum, to how your knees operate, to how your thighs operate, to how your ankles operate, your toes, to how your torso operates, to how you breathe, to how you think. This is why it's known as the seat of the self. It's not the soul, it's the body. Part of you that operates this body, the ghost in the machine. We tend to think it's the head and the brain. That's the thinking part, the thinking center. The hip center is the moving center, body center. So after a few moments, after a few breaths, it's enough. Ease yourself into corpse. And as you ease yourself into corpse, allow the breath to move smoothly through your body. Moving smoothly and with ease. settle, calm. Yeah, physical practice always good to connect with the residue. The residue is whatever comes up now. Whether it's a memory, feeling, thought, whatever comes up, accept it, acknowledge it, without kind of over analyzing it. Just appreciate it, say thank you for coming up, and release it. Activating this area. Things may be pleasant or unpleasant. And usually, if there's a lot of stiffness around that area, the stiffness is not just physical. There might be patterns of folding, conscious or unconscious patterns of folding around it, due to whatever reasons. Infection, trauma, injury, habits. It's good to observe these things as they come up. It's good to acknowledge your ability to change, but to maintain patience and persevere. slowly draw the knees in as you roll towards your side. Stay on the side for a few more moments. As you are resting comfortably on your side, just be aware of the breath as it moves through your body. And visualize the breath rising from the pelvic floor, from the pubic plate area. Moving through your body. The exhalation flushing out, the discomforts, any stagnations, any toxins still remaining there. As you breathe in new life, energy, prana, revitalizing your body. Come back to the room. Be aware of the room, the space you're in. Be aware of the fact that there's people around you. But while you're aware of all those things around you, the house you're in, the room you're in, people you're sharing it with, stay rooted in your center. The center of your body, physical body. Which is your vehicle, your instrument. But slowly, the eyes are closed, sitting. And it will finish with the home. Before we chant again, just take a moment to connect the essence of Om. It's a sound that stands to encompass everything. A sound that is telling us that all is one. It's all the same. Om. Divine consciousness. You are part of. Which is the same as Namaste in the end, following all these things that I recognize that I am you and you are me. We are all the same. Ready to begin? Thank you, everyone. Hope you can walk. So yeah, keep practice. Just a reminder about the last Friday of the month, the 24th. There won't be a class on the 24th. Otherwise, we're here the Wednesdays, Fridays, as usual. Just a good day. A hip day. Thank you. One. Behind. Here. Here. Yeah. Yeah, it's not easy. It's so important.